What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel today. In today's video, it is Veterans Day, so I thought I would do a little bit of a different video today. But shout out to everybody who has served their country, whether it be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, 6 year, whatever it may be. Happy Veterans Day to all those who served, all those who sacrificed time, separation from family, you know, and the list goes on. You know, the sacrifice is different for so many different people. But if you raise your right hand and serve this country, I appreciate you and I applaud you for your service. And thank you. It's a super humbling and sacrificial thing to do that. But like I said with this video, I thought I'd do something a little different. So I myself served 5 years in the United States Air Force. So I thought that I would give you guys a little bit of background on that aspect of my life and give you guys a little bit of history from before I became a barber. But before we get to that, I just want to say I appreciate everybody who subscribed to the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and we'll get to this story time.
Look, I just flipped the switch.
All right, guys, so where my military story starts is gonna be in San Antonio, Texas. That is where I went to basic training. I went to Lackland Air Force Base, where I was part of the 321st Training Squadron, Flight 675. I had 3 drill instructors during the duration of me being in basic training, but the one that was there the most was, her name was Tech Sergeant Winnegree, and I'm gonna include a little bit of pictures here and there in this this little story time, so I can give you guys more of an idea of, you know, my life before barbering. So like I said, just stay tuned. I'll put the pictures somewhere in here. But Tech Sergeant Winnegree, she was crazy. She would ruin our lives every single day. That part of my military career is pretty dope to go through. Basic training is something else. They completely try to break you down and remold you into what they would have you to be, as far as, you know, whether you're a soldier, Marine, sailor, you know, airman. That's the goal of basic training, is to try to get you disciplined and teach you different things in life and how to, you know, maintain a lifestyle that they want you to maintain. But that was basic training. I was there for a little under 9 weeks. And like I said, that was in Lackland Air Force Base, Texas. After I got out of basic training, I went over to down, like, I want to say on the other side of the base is where I went to tech school, which is equivalent to like the Army's AIT. It's where you learn to go do the job that you have picked, or they picked for you, or whatever happens in your case. So with that, after I graduated basic training, went down to the other side of the base to the 345th LRS, which is the Logistics Readiness Squadron, is what they had. It was a training squadron that taught, you know, a bunch of logistics, all the different AFSCs. And the AFSC is just your job code on what you'd be doing. So in my instance, I was a 2T2, which was an air transportation specialist. So I spent some time over there and over in the 345th, and I believe I was there from October to December. So and after I left there is when I got to my permanent duty station, which was in Dover Air Force Base, Delaware. And the funny thing about that is that I didn't even want to be on the East Coast. When I had, you know, you sign these little dream sheets, or you fill out these dream sheets with your recruiter about where you want to end up or what base you want to be at. And I had so many recruiters tell me, oh yeah, you're gonna end up here, blah, 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 blah. But I put all the bases in Texas I possibly could, in New Mexico, and then ended up on the East Coast. So if you are planning on joining the military, keep that in mind. You're not gonna get the base that you pick or you are thinking that you're gonna get to. It's most likely gonna be on the other side of the world. But I ended up going to Delaware, which was the 436th Aerial Port Squadron. And I was there, stationed there for 5 years. And in my time while being at the 436th Aerial Port Squadron, I deployed 3 times overseas. The first time was to Iraq, second time was Afghanistan, and then the third time was a TDY over in the United Arab Emirates. So I got to Delaware, and the first thing that, you know, struck me was how cold it was. I went from Texas to the Northeast, basically, and it was the coldest winter I've ever been in. It was the most snow that I've ever seen in my life. So I got there in January, and then after I got there, we had a huge snowstorm where I had snow, no lie, like up to my waist. At the time, I was living in the barracks on base, and I didn't have a vehicle to get to and from work, so I was just walking to work every day. And I remember calling my sergeant, and I was like, hey, the snow is like up to my waist. And he's like, well, you live on base, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, you could walk to work. And I was like, okay, all right. So walked, I want to say like probably a mile, maybe a little bit less than a mile. Snow waist deep, and just trucking along and walking to my work section. And that was an experience, you know. So I got really acquainted with the Northeast weather really quick. But I was there 8 months in Delaware before I had got tasked to go to my first deployment, which was in Joint Base Balad, Iraq. And before I went to Iraq, we went through a month of like strenuous like Army training on, you know, because we were getting tasked to go work with the Army, so we had to go through all their training too before we actually got sent over to Iraq. So I went to Fort Dix, New Jersey, spent a month there, a little over a month, doing like MRAP rollover training, Humvee rollover training, self-aid buddy, a lot of stuff just like jammed into this training, you know, before we headed to Iraq. And then once we got to Iraq, I was part of the 56 Movement Control Team, which was under two battalions, Army battalions. The first one was the 14th Transportation Battalion out of Vicenza, Italy. Their unit was over there in Iraq. And while we were there, they switched units and they switched over to the 53rd Transportation Battalion out of Fort Eustis, Virginia. And so we were under those two units while we were in Iraq. And after Iraq, you know, in Iraq, you know, it was a pretty dope experience. I was stationed with my boss. His name was Alan, and he was super dope supervisor. And we had like 3-4 contractors under us where we were working, and we were doing the logistics for some Army aircraft that were out there. So we did all the load plans and basically all the inventory for all these planes and all the cargo that was getting sent out and all that. So we oversaw all that. So it's an E4 and an E3 overseeing this whole little operation for a little over 8 months. So that was a pretty dope experience. And while I was in Iraq, I actually got to see my pops. My pops was enlisted in the Army for 22 years. So this was his second deployment. His first deployment was in the early 2000s, I want to say around 2003. And then he was there the time frame I was there, which was 2010, 2011. So I got to see my pops a few times while we were in Iraq. And that was just, you know, really dope. It was my first deployment. Didn't know what to expect. Didn't, you know, understand, you know, the separation from everything. And just, you know, the environment we're in. So being able to have my pops there, being able to have a super dope supervisor, you know, mentor, that was really great to have for my first deployment. And then after that, came back to Dover, Delaware, back to my original unit. And, you know, after I was in country for, I believe it was like 11 months, I was sent back out and I went to Bagram, Afghanistan. And I was there for 7 months, I believe it was. And over there in Bagram, Afghanistan, I was working with the Air Force, with the 455th Aerial Port Squadron. Basically out there, doing the same thing I would do stateside, but over there in the deployed environment, loading, you know, passengers, cargo, what have you. And met a lot of cool people out there, a lot of dope relationships. Met my homie Lugo out there, and you know, that was kind of like where I really started, you know, picking up to cut more hair. We had a little peanut and we would edge each other up all the time. And I did a few haircuts while we were out there too. I went bald while I was in Afghanistan. But you know, my love for hair was continually growing, you know, at this point. But what really, you know, sparked the love for hair for me was the first barbershop that I went to in Delaware, which was called Supreme Hair Design. And I remember the first time I went in there, you know, and didn't know what to expect. Met a dude, his name was Rob, and he was the one that cut me up for the duration of me being there in Delaware for the most part. Every now and then I would go to another shop if Rob was too busy to get me in, but you know, that was where the initial, I want to say, spark of interest for barbering had actually happened. And you know, just the environment of the barbershop, all the trash talking, all the, the different scents that you have in a barbershop, and just, the skill and the talent that it takes to be a barber. All that just really sparked my interest. But back to Afghanistan. Once I left Afghanistan, came back to Dover, Delaware again, and I was back in country for 10 months before I was sent back out again to the United Arab Emirates, which is where, you have Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So the base I was stationed at in the United Arab Emirates was near Abu Dhabi. It was probably about like 10, 15 miles away from Abu Dhabi, and then about 2.5 hours from Dubai. So, that was a pretty dope experience too, working out there. So, just being in the military, it offered a lot of different, opportunities, and the opportunity to travel to multiple different countries, just being able to do something bigger than yourself, so to speak. And it's a humbling experience. It's a lot of sacrifice, and I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to serve my country for 5 years, and be able to learn all the things I've learned in that career field, as well as be able to travel all over the world. Growing up, my pops was in the military as well. Like I said, he was in the Army for 22 years. So I lived in Japan as a child, lived all over the States because he moved constantly, went to 6 different high schools, 2 middle schools, 2 elementaries, and a junior high. And just that was my life. It was just constantly moving around. So, it's awesome to start planting roots. And, I'm thankful for the career I had in the military, the time that I had there, the people that I met. And after I got out of the military, I went out and I did the contracting sector for a very, very short stint. It wasn't really what I wanted or expected it to be. For a lot of people, it may be what they expect it to be, but for myself, I had left over to Afghanistan, back to Bagram, where I was stationed at in 2012. But I went back out to Afghanistan 2018 into 2019, and to go be a supervisor for the job that I was in the military, but on the civilian side. And when I got out there, it was fun. It was great to be around planes again and be around logistics. But my wife was pregnant at the time. I had 2 kids at home and a wife, and that separation was different. When I deployed the first 3 times, I really didn't, have a lot at home for me to, really want to be back home. So it was a lot different the last time around in Afghanistan, being that I had, my family back home. So, I decided to come back, and, I really missed the Clippers while I was over there. I really missed the barbershop vibes, because at this point in 2018, I had already been in the shop a year and a half. So, I already, grew that love and grew accustomed to the job I had, and I just wanted to try it out. I thought I missed it. I thought I missed the lifestyle of being out there, but, I really didn't miss it as much as I thought, because, being away from, cutting hair in the shop was, was really painful, being away from family. But, glad I did it, glad I tried it, got it out of my system. And, now, when I came back, beginning of February 2019, I made it, my pledge that I was gonna go all for barbering, so I, stopped thinking about all these other jobs that I could have had, or all these logistics jobs or aviation jobs that, I think in my mind that would make me happy. I let go of all those thoughts and just put all my energy and all my time into barbering. I pushed forward with my YouTube channel, and and things are going great. I'm very I don't want to say successful, but I'm very blessed to be as booked as I am. I'm very blessed to have all the subscribers that I have and all the people that follow me, which I truly am thankful for. And hopefully in a year from now, the subscriber count will double, triple, or whatever it may be. We're gonna continue to grow this channel, and we're gonna continue to grow in the shop. And I just appreciate everybody who is subscribed and supporting, like I said. And hopefully you enjoyed this story time. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of backstory on my life before cutting hair, before being behind the chair. And shout out to everybody who is subscribed to the channel. If you have served, like I said, once again, happy Veterans Day. I appreciate your service. And once again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, follow me on Instagram @jblends_. And until next time, God bless.